Okay, what we have here today is a 2018 Merc 9.9 Mercury outboard. It's got the typical, we see this a lot, leaking fuel from the carburetor. Now you're not going to be able to see it actually leaking, but we'll see if we can get some just up underneath here. You can see that there's some fuel leaking out of there, just from the float bowl gasket there, where the fuel inlet goes through the float bowl gasket. So we're going to pop this thing apart and replace that gasket and get this leak fixed up. So we'll just pop this off here. That was the choke linkage. This is your throttle linkage here. Drop that out of the way. We do an awful lot of these ones. They leak very regularly. Very common. See, there's a bit of fuel dripping off the bottom there now. This one's a little bit newer than we normally see them. Usually they need a couple more years. This one, I guess it's 4 years old now. 5 to 8 years is when we see them start to leak. Come up there a little bit. There we go. So this is, that's where the fuel comes in there. Can we see? Yeah, that's good. And then it travels up here into the main body of the carburetor, and it's actually leaking out right through there. So we'll move this camera and set this up over on the bench here. Let's see how this works. Give it a room. See if I can get that a little closer for you. That's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to drain the fuel out of there. We'll pull the float bowl off the bottom. And voila. And this is what we're looking at right here. I'll just zoom in there. That right there is where we're leaking. Let's go down a little bit, a little closer. So the fuel comes up through this hole here, up into the main body, and the fuel pressure from the fuel pump pushes it past this, this rubber gasket here, which over time flattens out and you get a little bit of corrosion on it. So, like I said, it's a very common fault. We see this all the time. So we'll just peel that out of there. I don't know if you'll be able to see very clearly there. Let's just zoom in a bit. So you can see the white on the bottom. There's a little bit of corrosion building up on the surface. So And then the other spot where these ones leak is just under this cover for the accelerator pump diaphragm. There's two O-rings under here that also go flat. They come in the kit, so we'll replace them while we're in here. There's a spring under here. You can see I got my thumb on top of it here, just so that the spring doesn't go flying away. I take my screws out. There's my little spring, just there. And there's our two O-rings. Now, oftentimes, the accelerator pump diaphragm here will go hard and crack as well. This one's in good shape, so we're going to leave that. But they'll leak from there as well. This one's a relatively newer model, so I knew that the diaphragm would be okay. But these O-rings are definitely flat. You won't be able to see it, I don't think, in the camera there, but they've flattened out a lot. So, So we got a Mercury carb kit. We keep these on the shelf if you need one. Give us a call, send us a message with your serial number, and we'll make sure we get the right carburetor kit for you. There's multiple different part numbers. This one's just the one for this model here. Always need a serial number when we're looking for parts. Okay, let's do our O-rings first. A little bit of grease. My favorite. If you've watched my videos, you've seen this grease a lot. I use it for everything. If I remember correctly, I think Merc even recommends it for their water pump impellers. A little bit of grease, one spring, a little balancing act. Always grease your O-rings. They seal by flowing into the imperfections in the mating surfaces. A little bit of lubricant on them helps them flow without tearing. Make sure you use a compatible grease with for the type of O-ring you're using as well. Now, another thing I see quite often is the accelerator pump check valve, this little brass piece here. Let's just zoom in a bit. Yeah, where is it? There it is. It slips right into your float bowl here, just like that, and it falls out just that easy. So when you're working on it, make sure you don't accidentally drop it on the floor or in the gravel. You want to be able to find it again. Let's see how this one wants to. It's got a little bit of a kink in there, so we might just glue that up. Let's have a look here and see what we can see. Yeah, we might hold it with some grease. If I can avoid gluing it, I like to, just because it's a carburetor. And if I can keep the glue out of the fuel system, that would be great. The factory ones are glued into place. That little bit of grease is all it needed to hold it in place there. I know that this is a very low hour motor, so I'm not going to change his needle and seat or anything like that. We're just going to fix this up. You can see it's nice and clean inside the float bowl. There's no corrosion or anything in there, no water buildup. His main jet. So we got, zoom in a bit here. Got the main jet, and then his idle jet is down under there. It's all nice and clean in there. So we're just going to pop you right back together. Just like so. When I get a dirty one, I will I'll pull it all apart for you and show you where all the jets are and everything. But today we're just going to get this one going. I know this motor, so I know it's in good shape except for this leak. Now, a little trick to check for your needle and seat. Make sure it's sealing up. When the carburetor is upside down, the float drops all the way to the top and closes your needle and seat. Whoop. Now we just zoom up here. You can see. There we go. Now put that up there. Just blow into there. Tastes a little bit like gas, but it's not the end of the world. Blow into that. And you can tell it's sealed. Flip it up the right way. And you can blow right through it. And that's the needle and seat opening and closing. So just the weight of the float on there will close it up tight. You can't blow through it. If you can blow through it just a little bit, it's leaking and you're going to have a flooding problem. That's good. That's that for that. We're going to put this back on. See if this gasket, there we go. Got some new gaskets here. We're going to put them on. Same again, a little bit of grease. Holds them in place. Helps it all go together. Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure if you saw that bit. We just put a little bit of grease on that gasket to hold it on the carburetor there. We'll just move the camera here. And we'll put this carburetor back on. And we'll do something like that. Spin you around a bit here. That's pretty good. Move my monitor so I can see what you're looking at. Those right there. So we're going to reverse the taking it off. We'll put our fuel line on first. There's that air box in there. Get these screws through. They're a little fiddly, but work good. Not a lot to do on this. It's a pretty straightforward job. You can do it at home. The key is making sure that you've got the right gasket kit to put it all back together. These are a 6mm bolt into aluminum. You don't want to go too tight. They're also going through plastic. So they don't need to be super wrenched down tight. Put our choke on. That's our choke. And this one here is our throttle. I'll show you how I set those up. You see it just slides on that shaft there. You can see that? Yeah. So what I do with them is, let's see if I can use it. Oh yeah, you can see the throttle there. So right here on the throttle, open it up to wide open throttle. There we go. All the way open. And then we'll just zoom back down into there. Let's see if we can catch this right there. So with the throttle wide open, this shaft is all the way through. Now I push the carburetor to wide open throttle right there. I tighten this screw. This ensures that we get wide open throttle on the carburetor. And then we close our throttle back to idle, back into neutral. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can show you. And we make sure that with the choke closed, that the throttle goes all the way back to the idle speed screw there. So you want to have a little bit of play in there so that when you go into gear, you're not moving the throttle just yet. Now as we run the throttle away around, we go into wide open throttle. So there we go. Put our overflow vent hose on. And that's that. I've still got a fuel line connected there, so I'm going to pump some fuel into it. You'll probably hear it go through the needle and seat. Give it a good squeeze, lots of pressure there. And we are bone dry there. That leak is fixed, just like that. So we're going to take this out to the test tank and run it up, make sure it's running good and not leaking, and we'll adjust the idle and everything like that for it. But that solves our leak problem. Thanks for watching. If you got any questions, you can give me a call anytime. You can email or leave comments, whichever you like.